Man, I need some motivation, where should I go? To rise above limitations, get up off the floor. Teaching me new things that I ain't already know. Melanated elevation, let me put you on. Man, they all about creation, go check out they clothes. Brain mentally stimulating, inspiring growth. I'm learning my worth, it's dope, the merch reflect the glow. It keep me warm, but I ain't gonna lie, this hoodie cold. Let me check out the podcast, new episode.
Epiphany or whatnot the other day, and it was basically about like our flaws versus our intent, right? And how, you know, our intentions actually have more power over our flaws, you know, as long as we direct that energy into fulfilling the intention. And also, you know, the intention can go into the willpower, you know what I'm saying? And the flaws, these can be anything, you know what I'm saying? So I've been reading this book, The Community of Self, and one of the things that's in there that it speaks on is that there's different aspects of self that makes up the community of self, right? So you have the motors of self, which are the drives and instincts, whether that's drives towards pleasure or drives away from pain and discomfort, right? Now, certain flaws can be manifested within the realm of that clause, you know what I'm saying, depending on the upbringing. Now you got the senses of self, which is just, you know, your senses, well, sight, sound, touch, smell, and tasting. So, another one is the emotional ego. Ego is used by the emotion. Strong feelings which well up from the inside of a person usually is the voice of the ego. It responds to support and attention by feelings of pride and love. It responds to threat and neglect by sadness or hatred. And ego is not a good ruler. And there's a lot of flaws within the realm of the ego itself. You got another one is memory, right? How our minds can play tricks on us and things of that nature, or if we don't fully remember a particular event that has happened in our past, you know, our mind will actually try to fill in the blanks to make it make sense to how we think we remember a certain situation. So your memory can be used against you, or sometimes it's not always accurate. And then if we're making decisions based off of our memories, which is based off of the past, in certain situations, that's having us live in the past and not in the present moment. So we actually will be going backwards, you know. But another one is the self-accusing spirit, which is our consciousness, right? Now, this right here, now our consciousness is our friend. You get what I'm saying? Although our conscience is our friend, although sometimes, right, if we give too much authority to the conscious, then, you know, we may go from self-accusing, right, to self-belittling or self-bashing, you know what I'm saying? And then we can get into the state of, okay, perfectionism. And if we're not perfect, and if we're not reaching this status quo, right, that we have for ourselves, then we may feel like we're worthless or useless or just undeserving, right? And we got to get out of that, because everybody makes mistakes. You get what I'm saying? And the whole point is to not get caught up on those mistakes. But this also goes back to willpower is the other component of the community of self that actually is meant to be the ruler of the self, because when every aspect of self is aligned through the willpower is actually what is the most powerful, that will allow us to break out of any old habits or out of any characteristics that may lead to our destruction. And our willpower is actually what will align all of those attributes of self in the community of self, right, towards that growth and elevation. So the reason I say willpower over our flaws, right, or your intention over your flaws. Intention and willpower go hand in hand. You know what I'm saying? Although I would like to expound on the fact that willpower more so, you know, deals with applying the action behind the intention, the will. You know what I'm saying? The human will frees us from any limitations of our drives, unlike any other animal. The willpower has the unique ability to pull the mind and the flesh in the direction of truth. The will is set to organize and harmonize all components of the self. The will draws upon the functions of all parts of the community and unites those separate forces for the good of the whole community of self, or the whole self community. The will is also our fallibility or shortcoming because it is our limited free will which permits us to fall victim to other parts of the self. Overall, by education and purification of the will, which gives freedom from negative influences from other parts of the self, like mentioned before, humans are capable of great heights of growth. So the will, which is the divine representative within the person when working with the higher parts of conscious and guided by proper direction, is the intended Khalifa, or ruler over the self-community. When the will achieves rulership over the self grows to be the proper ruler of earth. You see? So the willpower is actually meant to help organize and gather all of the attributes of self and the value that each of those, community members bring towards, a higher purpose and a more righteous purpose, so that right there is what that's about.